Are we gonna have a girl or a boy? That's the question.
Exciting.
Now, before we reveal if it's gonna be a boy or a girl, let us know your prediction in the comments. Write either boy or girl.
Yeah, here's my belly if you want to see the shape of my belly.
Amazing.
If that tells you anything.
Yeah.
We are having a baby.
Great.
But that's all news by this point.
So let's tell us the story of how we figured out if we're gonna have a boy or a girl. Because it's a real doozy.
Doozy. This has been one of the highlights for us during the entire pregnancy. Because, not really because we cared that much about what we were gonna have, but it was just such a special thing. It was such a cool experience for me, at least.
Yeah, of course. It's like super exciting to figure out if you're gonna have a boy or a girl. Just like it's gonna be super exciting to figure out how our baby looks.
I know. Should we start with the beginning?
Let's start at the beginning.
In the beginning, we went for an ultrasound with our doctor in Hamburg. And Yannick took a video. And I remember when we went back to the house, we were still pretty early. The baby looked more like a gummy bear. We always call the baby our gummy bear.
Or chia seed.
In the video, I remember I told Yannick, that looks like a little something in between the legs. Do you remember?
Yeah.
What do you think in that moment?
Well, I mean, I looked it up. When can you see the gender? In which week? And it wasn't time yet.
No.
Like, could have been any. So
I know.
I didn't know.
But that made me think, oh, there's something there. And then I also looked it up and it said that there's, at that stage of my pregnancy, all the babies look like boys because they all have something there in between the legs. I'm not sure what it is. I wish I was more prepared right now to tell you all the science behind it, but still, that made me think like, how would life be with two boys?
With two boys?
With two boys at home.
Ah, so that's what you mean.
So that was the first time that I kind of started thinking about gender.
We also thought about it because we were in my parents' house. Up to specific week, we were showing them the ultrasound pictures.
And videos.
And at one point I was like, you're not allowed to see them anymore in case you see something. And we don't want any spoilers, so don't even look at them.
Yeah, because your parents are like an open book.
Because maybe they have a better eye to what to look for
Yeah.
than we do. We have no idea what to look for.
I mean, your parents already had a boy and a girl, so they know exactly how it looks in an ultrasound.
I guess, yeah.
Yeah, that was super risky. And you told them that
And they were disappointed.
Yeah, they were very annoyed. But you told them that exactly the same day that I told you it looks like a thing in between the legs. So I feel like that's when we started thinking like,
Yeah.
oh, is there something there or not?
So at one point we did a test, a NIPT test. With this test you can also determine the gender. The doctor wrote if it's gonna be a boy or a girl on a piece of paper.
Yes.
And then folded it a bunch of times. We told her, we don't want to know yet, but please write it down on a paper.
That same day we had an ultrasound and we hadn't told her that we didn't know the gender or anything, but thankfully the doctor didn't say anything.
Maybe she couldn't see it yet at that point. Also in Germany, I think by law, they can only say it at 14 weeks to avoid that people have an abortion because of the gender.
That's a very interesting law. So she wrote it in a paper. We told her, please write it if possible in English because we were only speaking German to her. And she wrote it and gave us the envelope. And then we had to hold on to that envelope for weeks.
The reason for that is because we wanted to have the gender reveal in Mexico with your family and your friends.
By that point,
no one in Mexico knew about the pregnancy because we wanted to tell them in person.
Yeah, and I was already like almost 4 months pregnant.
We were in Mexico for 3 weeks, and within those 3 weeks, after we told everybody, Joss was preparing everything for the gender reveal party. And it's like a classic gender reveal party with a lot of stuff, way bigger than in Germany. In Germany, it's just, I don't know it that much. No,
I don't think in Germany they do that many gender reveal parties. Maybe it's something new here. But I gotta say, I never imagined that I would have a gender reveal party like that. I like to watch those videos online and stuff back then, even before I was pregnant. But there's always some gender reveal parties where something goes wrong and it's super cringy. Like, I don't know, the confetti doesn't come out, the mother-in-law runs into the picture.
Or the smoke goes straight into the crowd. No one can see anything.
It's like, there's so many failed gender reveal parties.
Yeah.
So I actually thought, when I get pregnant, when we figure out the gender of our baby, we probably would do it privately. But things changed. We were in Mexico and I realized I'm not gonna be in Mexico for a baby shower. So I thought, if I'm not gonna have a baby shower, I wanna have at least one big party where I bring all of my loved ones together. So I was like, gender reveal.
Here we come.
Here we come, yeah.
Turn up the heat, don't stop, bring it.
It was so much planning. It took over my life.
Yeah, you basically took the entire 3 weeks.
Yeah, because I was a cheapo. I wanted a beautiful party, but I didn't want to spend too much money, and still, like, my parents gifted us that party.
Thank you.
It was super nice from them. Thank you so, so much. But still, I didn't want to just pay crazy amounts of money.
Yeah, let me tell you, Joss is an amazing event planner. She did it with our wedding, and it was the most beautiful wedding I could have dreamed of. Everything was perfect.
Thank you.
And the gender reveal party turned out exactly as planned, just as perfect.
Yeah, thankfully the
Could
weather
be.
was awesome too. It was like the hottest day. I like event planning. I feel like it's a passion of mine.
If you want to hire her,
Maybe I should become.
do it. It's worth it.
The whole theme for the gender reveal party was hot air balloons because we want our baby to be a traveler.
An adventure buddy.
The invitations look pretty cool. Then the centerpieces I made together with my mom's help. This is how the tables looked.
This is how the place looked.
Yeah, we had a pool. That was awesome.
This is how the snacks looked.
Yes, we had a snack bar. It was self-service.
Because we were cheapos.
Because we were cheapos, yeah.
That's actually the truth.
Yeah, so we just put the things there. It was easy. People can just get their chips.
It's way better too.
We had a buffet of chilaquiles rojos.
It was actually very delicious.
It was so good. Oh god.
Usually, Joss is not the biggest fan of buffets. I am. I love buffets
I don't-
because I can just take as much as I want, as many times as I want.
And I hate them because I don't want to be in line with my plate like this.
No, I love it. And the food was actually very good.
And we got Costco cakes. For the
Wow.
first time, I had never tried Costco cakes. And I knew they were like a big deal because there's resellers and stuff. And I wanted a huge chocolate cake in Costco that looked like the one from Matilda.
Yeah.
Like the Bruce. We woke up and we went when Costco opened. And we're like, we're gonna get the cake. Dude, they were already sold out.
It's crazy.
It's super annoying.
Apparently, some people get in early.
Yes, because they have a special membership if you pay a little bit more a year.
Annoying. So they're just stealing all the cakes.
So we still got very delicious cakes. They were very good. Oreo. We had a cheesecake. Everybody wanted
That
cheesecake.
was the hit.
And
Tres leches or something.
maybe.
So then,
Then I wanted to give some favors to the people. Recuerditos. We only had like 50 people. Yeah.
only like in Germany, that's a whole wedding.
True. Initially I was like, we're not giving anything to anyone. And my mom was like, un recuerdito, like kind of weird not to give people stuff. First of all, they got some ribbon in blue or in pink. It was whatever they were predicting. I bought a bunch of pencils that had seeds on top. Apparently you can use that pencil like a normal pencil, and when it's super little and you can no longer use it, then you put it in a pot and water it, and then a plant comes with the seeds that you had. It's a cool idea. I thought it was something unique.
That was pretty cool. They actually were excited about them.
And the last thing we gifted them were some soaps. And as you know, in Atoll we don't make soaps.
Oh no, we make shampoo bars.
And they are all free of soap. But in between, I bought some ingredients to make soaps because I wanted to experiment. So just as a cool activity for me, I started making the soaps at home myself. And I made a couple. They were super little. I hope they like them. And I made them myself.
Nice. For the games, Joss's sister prepared some of those activities.
So my sister researched a bunch of old wife tales. That's how they're called in English. In Spanish, it's like superstitions. That people believe if your belly looks this way, then that means it's a boy. They put a little necklace with your rings on it, and if it does circles or if it goes in a certain pattern, it's a girl or a boy.
In some games, the result was gonna be a boy, and some other ones gonna be a girl.
It was
also like
50-50.
50-50. Yeah.
Yes, it was 50-50. But surprisingly, like most of the people that we invited were so sure that it was gonna be a boy.
I think the majority said boy. Yes.
Niño.
In front of every table, there was also a paper laying where the people could write down their prediction. If it's gonna be a boy and a girl. And on top of that, how the baby's gonna look, what eye color, what hair color, when is it gonna be born, the exact date,
And the hour, I think, even.
and what personality traits the kid is gonna get from us.
Yeah.
That was fun. I also wrote something down.
Yeah, and we'll see if anybody gets it correctly or
Yeah.
not.
And then we also had some cards with the alphabet, and then they had to paint on top of them.
Some people painted them super nicely, like they really went off.
And then it was time for the gender reveal.
Ah, it's so exciting.
So first, we have to say if we had any feeling. Is it gonna be a boy or a girl? And something happened a few weeks earlier that made us think in a specific direction. You can explain.
No, you can explain.
All right, so Joss's cousin is a gynecologist.
Denise, I've made videos with her.
When we arrived to Mexico, Joss made an appointment with her because, of course, she wanted to see her gynecologist, Denise.
And I wanted to give her the news in person too. I hadn't texted her about
True.
pregnancy.
Yeah. So by that point, she did an ultrasound and she could already see what it was going to be.
Yeah, and she was like, oh yeah, like she immediately saw something there.
Yeah. And then she said, "How nice."
How nice. And we were like, what?
What does that mean?
What is that? Is it a boy or a girl?
So we told her, let us know when we're allowed to look at the screen so we don't see anything yet.
Yeah.
And she let us know, okay, now we can look. Now we cannot see anything. And then at the end of the appointment, we showed her the letter from our German gynecologist. Now she's also my gynecologist. Just to see if it matches with what she saw on the ultrasound.
Yeah.
And yes, it did match. So we had the result in our hands.
I know, and we knew like now 2 people have confirmed this. The genetic testing, which is supposed to be very accurate, and the ultrasound.
Yeah. We went back home, and then the same day in the evening, Joss was texting with the sister of Denise, Anna, that's her name, who was also pregnant at that time.
To give her the news, because I hadn't given people the news.
Yeah.
And I thought maybe the niece is gonna tell her that I'm pregnant, so I wanna tell her myself. So I texted her like, hey, I'm pregnant too, yay.
And then Joss is laying in the bed next to me. We're watching a series, and then she's reading a message, and then she suddenly says to me, I think Anna just spoiled what it's gonna be.
The gender of the baby.
And I was like,
Thought so.
why? How?
So let me explain to you what happened in this situation. Anna texted me. She was very happy for us that we were pregnant and that we were gonna be pregnant together, kind of, her and I. And then she told me, do you already know what it is? And then not even 1 minute later, exactly in the same minute, she said, oh, I saw that it's blah. Congratulations. And I was like, you saw that it's blah? Like, I don't want to say it yet. So when Anna texted me that, I was like, oh God, now I know.
Yeah.
Now I know what it is. And I was kind of sad. I was disappointed because I was like, oh man.
The whole surprise is gone.
Yeah, we've been waiting for weeks. And I texted her, dude, no, I'm not supposed to know yet. We're keeping this a secret. We're actually gonna have a gender reveal in a few days.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna ignore what you just texted me and act like I didn't read it.
So they texted for a while, back and forth.
And then I spoiled it for Yannick.
Yeah, like a few minutes earlier, just said, at least you don't know yet. And
Yeah.
for you, it's gonna be a surprise. And a few minutes later, it's gonna be blah.
But I didn't say it's gonna be blah. I told you like, man, but why would she say it's gonna be blah?
and
And that's when I was like, oh, I spoiled it now.
And then I got super disappointed, dude.
Super
Before I was like, there's still hope.
yeah.
And that moment I was like,
No, he was super angry actually. Like he was not mean to me, but I could tell. I know that angry face.
disappointed.
Yeah, important to know. It was not about the gender, it was about the spoiler, because we had been trying to keep that a secret.
And then after talking about it for a while, we kept watching our series, and we both in our heads were just not focused on what we were watching.
Yeah, I was just like blah 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 on the screen. I was just thinking the whole time.
And then at one point, I paused and I was like,
Yes.
look, let's go back to talking about it. And I was like, maybe she just said it randomly, like without knowing what it is.
Yeah.
So we don't know yet for sure if that's the gender or if it was just a mistake. So they texted for a while, back and forth.
And she said, no, I don't know. Like, my sister didn't tell me anything. She clearly didn't even know that I was pregnant. She said, my sister didn't tell me anything. She's super private with those things. Just the way you were texting me, I assumed that it was gonna be blah.
Blah.
because of the words I used when I told her that I was pregnant and stuff.
Yeah.
So even though she told me that she didn't know what it was, in my brain it started going like it's blah, it's blah, it's blah, it's blah, it's blah, it's blah, it's blah.
Yeah.
I started thinking like a mother of blah. You know, I was like, this is gonna be our life now.
I was still very 50-50, but maybe a little more leaning towards blah
Because of that.
because of that.
And also my mom, when we asked her, what do you think it's gonna be? She said blah right away. She was so sure.
Yeah, she seemed like she
She-
knew exactly, as a fact, what's in there.
Yes, she knew like she had insider information. For real. There was no doubt in her mind that
Yeah.
we were gonna have blah. So we were like, we're still gonna have a gender reveal. We still don't know 100%,
No.
but very likely it's blah.
Or very, very slightly.
Likely.
It's slightly likely.
And then the day came.
Everybody was in front of us in a half circle.
It was the hottest day.
We were standing in front of the arch. Everybody was counting down. Boom.
We're having a
Wait for it.
girl.
Girl!
How crazy is that? And just so you know, blah was boy. We thought my cousin told us that we're having a boy,
Yes,
but it's a girl.
but it's a girl.
How crazy.
And I, what's
Yeah, let's put the light away.
I was still basically 50-50 and a little more towards boy. So when the smoke came up, you can see it in the video, my face was like
Like,
this.
is this correct?
It's like, what? Yeah, I was very surprised.
I was very surprised too.
I was very surprised.
But man, that was crazy.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Like for weeks, I had been thinking, I'm gonna be a boy mom. And I started to think like a boy mom. And then out of nowhere, it's a girl. And since then, it just feels like a girl the whole time in my belly. Really, I feel like a girl mom.
Sure.
So we're gonna have a little princess.
Well, they say the girls give you more morning sickness. So since Joss had a lot of morning sickness, I guess it makes sense.
Yeah, crazy. How
Yeah.
did you feel with the news?
I felt super excited.
Were you hoping for a girl or for a boy or anything?
Both.
Yeah, you were always like whatever.
When someone asked me, I always said, I have no clue. Like whatever it is, that's awesome.
Your parents also thought it was a boy.
True. And now I'm gonna have 2 girls here in this house.
Girl power.
I already know I'm gonna be the cool dad. And she's gonna be like, Dad, Mom doesn't wanna give me this and that. And I'm like, don't worry, kiddo.
Oh, you're gonna spoil her.
I'm the cool dad.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
sure.
Get you whatever you want.
We all know I'm gonna be the cool mom. Let's be for real.
Sure.
Let's be for real. You're the disciplined guy. You're the German. I'm the crazy Mexican. I don't
Yeah, I
know.
mean, that's true. But I can also be crazy.
We're both gonna be cool.
Yes, we're gonna be cool.
We're very happy
Yes, we're very happy and super excited to meet her.
to meet her.
That's her in here.
Our baby girl.
Yeah.
We'll see if she looks like you or like me.
That's gonna be so exciting.
I feel like it's gonna be a mini Joss, to be honest. Look at this. I don't even fit anymore.
No, it's super stretched. Wow.
I don't have that many clothes that fit anymore, but it's too late to buy stuff.
No, it's gonna be super exciting.
But things just gonna
She's
like.
gonna have my blonde hair It's not really blonde. My brunette hair or your
Brown.
darker brunette hair. Wow, what a difference.
I feel like my genes are gonna be coming through stronger. They say brown eyes and brown hair are very dominant genes.
Secret.
I'm just saying, but I don't care even how she looks. I'm so happy.
Yeah, of course.
She's gonna be awesome, and it's just gonna be cool. I'm excited. You're gonna have 2 girls at home.
Yeah, and if she has the Latin fire in her,
She's gonna be crazy.
it's gonna be crazy.
We're happy to share this with you.
Yes.
Good news are always fun to share.